When I was working for Santa Monica Bay Physicians, which was back in the early 90s, yeah, I know I was working there in 1994. I think I started in sometime in 93, probably early in the year. Um, and one of the things about it was it's like and I mentioned I was talking about the 94 earthquake before, but I was actually I was working there during the 94 earthquake, Northridge earthquake, and it actually did some damage. There was one thing I forgot to mention in my earthquake videos, and that's that we had gotten there was a woman named Lenore de Medici who was our, she was like a computer consultant. She, put the software together with the hardware and so on. So anyway, she was doing that work for us during the time of the earthquake. She also lived in the valley. And one of the things I forgot to mention in the earthquake videos was the fact that our computer got destroyed. Like, I guess you would call it a mainframe. It was like she was loading. What it was is we got a new computer. We bought and paid for it, and she had it at her home, and she was working on it, loading the software and anything else that we needed on the computer, and tweaking it and stuff for our company. And remember, this is the 1994, computers we're talking about, not the new stuff now, new technology now. But so it's like she told me, probably the day after the earthquake or something, that the computer was destroyed during the earthquake in her home. She had damage to her. I don't think she had structural damage to her house and stuff, but things went flying and stuff, and apparently that did too. And the guy I worked for, Bob Vasey, he was a real jerk, and it was like, I got really nervous about the whole thing because I needed to tell him that the computer was busted, and I figured he'd probably like blame it on me and take it out on me. Believe it or not, just even though it was an accident and everything, it's like, so I was gonna tell him, but because he was such a jackass, it's like he could have done something stupid like fire me too over something like that. Yeah, and yes, he would have done something like that. He was that kind of a jackass. But he would. So I decided to try and keep it on the QT, and I told Lenore, I said, don't tell anybody. It's like, and what I did is I had her order another computer and to replace it. And it's like, and I took the check in to get signed by him, and it's like, I can't remember how much it was. It's like, but it wasn't cheap. It was like at least like in the high, like say $900 or $1,000 something or something, which was a lot more money than it is now. But so he had forgotten that we had already paid for the computer. So, and I was kind of banking on that because he seemed to have like a bad memory, and sometimes he conveniently had a bad memory because he would say he forgot things, so he wouldn't get into trouble and stuff with the doctors and stuff. So I took the check in, he signed it and everything, and it's like I managed to pass through that one. I didn't mention it to anybody else. I don't think I mentioned it to anybody else in the accounting department or anything. I may have said something to my assistant, my right-hand person, Jay Jahendran. I may have said something to him. By the way, Jay was fantastic. He was a fantastic accountant. I was so lucky to have him. And he, it's like, so it's like I managed to get away with it. It's like, and it was like, it wasn't anything that I was like getting away with really. It's like, it's just one of those things that happened. It's like, in the insurance, I'm sure would have never covered it. But it's like, it's an unfortunate thing that I couldn't be honest with my boss and everything and tell him that the computer was busted and we have to just pay for another one. So fortunately, he didn't know. He'd forgotten that he'd already paid for it. He just assumed that, it was the original one. So anyway, that all went through, and there was no problems or anything after that. So that was kind of an earthquake memory regarding Santa Monica Bay Physicians. Rest in peace, Santa Monica Bay Physicians. They're all of the doctors are like in other groups that have similar names and stuff, but they're all kind of still around. So that's it.